The HoverMatt air transfer system facilitates all-day patient care and can be used for lateral transfers, boosting, turning, positioning, and proning. To ensure that the HoverMatt is always used safely, follow these best practice methods. Stay close approach. The HoverMatt SPU should be moved using an angled transfer technique to ensure that caregivers never compromise their ergonomic positioning and that one caregiver is always in contact with the inflated HoverMatt SPU. Position of safety. This position is assumed by a caregiver before the HoverMatt is inflated or deflated. The caregiver should be next to the patient with their body against the HoverMatt and hands on the HoverMatt handles. The position of safety ensures that a caregiver is always close to and in control of any HoverMatt or patient movement. The HoverMatt air transfer system includes the HoverMatt transfer mattress and the HoverTech air supply. The HoverMatt transfer mattress is available in reusable or single patient use models. This video will primarily feature the single patient use HoverMatt, or SPU. The HoverMatt Universal Cart is an optional accessory that provides easy portability and storage for the HoverMatt air transfer system. The air supply inflates the HoverMatt to cushion and cradle the patient. At the same time, air escapes from thousands of holes on the bottom of the HoverMatt to reduce friction and the force needed to move the patient, making patient handling tasks easier. The HoverMatt has a weight limit of 1,200 pounds and is made in different sizes to accommodate patient width. The HoverMatt is radiolucent, artifact-free, and easily facilitates the placement of an X-ray cassette. It is also latex-free. The tapered head accommodates narrow diagnostic machines, stretchers, or stretcher chairs. There are 2 safety straps that buckle over the patient to provide a sense of security and visual comfort for the patient and caregiver. Secure the safety strap buckles loosely for lateral transfers and ensure that the straps are not tight against the patient's body, especially after mattress inflation. The SPU has 8 handles with 4 on each side, while the reusable HoverMatt has 6 handles with 3 on each side. The design of the handles ensures that the caregiver always remains close to the patient for safety. The handles are color contrasted from the mattress material for easy size identification. There are 2 hose entries, one on either side of the foot end of the mattress, to make transfers more convenient. The label on the HoverMatt indicates the foot end and top side of the mattress. The instructions for use, warnings, model number, and serial number are also located on this label. To further ensure proper patient placement, the top and bottom of the HoverMatt are made of color contrasting material. The patient-dedicated SPU can be used in any department to eliminate infection control concerns and the need for laundering. The reusable HoverMatt is heat-sealed for enhanced infection control and is infused with antimicrobial and anti-static agents. The HT Air 1200 air supply has adjustable airflow features that allow it to be used with all HoverMatt, HoverJack, and inflatable positioning devices. The LED control panel has 3 airflow buttons and a standby button that turns off airflow. The standby button is the second button from the left. When the air supply is plugged into an electrical outlet, the standby button power indicator light will be lit. Press the standby button anytime you need to stop airflow. It is important to remember that this is not an off button and that power will still be supplied to the device after you have pressed standby. To the right of the standby button are the airflow options for HoverMatts and HoverJacks. The button labeled 28-inch and 34-inch HoverMatt is used for HoverMatt transfer mattresses that are 28 or 34 inches wide. The far right button labeled 39-inch and 50-inch HoverMatt and HoverJack is used for the larger 39 and 50-inch mattresses, as well as for inflating both the 32 and 39-inch HoverJack patient lifts. The button to the left of standby is the adjustable button, which offers 4 levels of low-volume airflow. When pressed, the LED light will blink to indicate the level of airflow. You may press up to 3 additional times to reach level 4, which is the highest airflow. The light will blink 1 time for each level. You may also use the adjustable button to gently inflate the HoverMatt. The power cord plugs into the air supply here. Make sure the cord is pushed in completely prior to use. When not in use, the cord can be wrapped and secured with a black snap attachment band. The hose can be looped under the air supply and snapped into place. The hose cover fits snugly into the top of the hose to prevent fluids and debris from entering the hose when it is not in use. The patented handle is ergonomically designed for carrying and doubles as a hook, allowing the air supply to hang on the end of a bed, stretcher, or side rail. Now we will demonstrate how to laterally transfer a patient using the HoverMatt air transfer system. A minimum of 2 caregivers is necessary. It is recommended that stretchers and hospital beds be made up with a HoverMatt in place. Whatever is placed on the bed mattress to keep it clean, such as linens, can be placed on top of the HoverMatt. Ensure that the safety straps are tucked out of the way but are still visible for easy access. If the HoverMatt is not already on the bed or stretcher, place it underneath the patient by using the log roll technique. Making sure that the patient is centered on the HoverMatt and positioned with his or her head 2 inches down from the HoverMatt top edge seam. Then, buckle both patient safety straps and adjust to ensure that they are loose around the patient. With the air supply cord plugged into an electrical outlet, insert the hose into one of the 2 hose entries located at the foot end of the HoverMatt. Open the flap and insert the hose at a slight angle. Snap the hose into place and close the Velcro flap. Ensure the transfer surfaces are as close together as possible with wheels locked. Transfer from a higher surface to a lower surface, approximately 1 to 3 inches difference whenever possible. 1 caregiver should be positioned next to the patient before the air supply is turned on. This caregiver should inform the patient of the task and explain what the patient will hear and feel. The caregiver should be next to the patient with their body against the HoverMatt and hands on the HoverMatt handles. This is called the position of safety. Inform the other caregiver that it is safe to start the air supply. If using the adjustable button to start the inflation process, be sure to press the appropriate HoverMatt model button before transferring. If using HoverTech's original air supply models, Air 200G or Air 400G, press the gray button to initiate airflow. The first caregiver should stay by the air supply until the HoverMatt is fully inflated, while the second caregiver maintains the position of safety. When the HoverMatt has fully inflated, the caregiver on the sending side should begin the transfer by pushing the HoverMatt at an angle towards the receiving caregiver. This reduces unnecessary reaching on the part of the receiving caregiver and ensures that both caregivers maintain ergonomic positioning. When the patient has been fully transferred to the receiving surface, the caregiver beside the stretcher should remain close to the patient. The other caregiver should ensure that the patient is centered on the receiving surface by performing a visual check at the foot end of the stretcher. Move the HoverMatt to center the patient on the receiving surface as needed. The caregiver at the patient's side will then assume the position of safety and ask for the air supply to be turned off. Turn off the airflow of the air supply by pressing the standby button. Then raise the side rails and elevate the head end of the stretcher as needed. The patient's safety straps can be disengaged and the air supply hose may be unsnapped and removed from the hose entry. The HoverMatt can remain underneath the patient and be used to transfer, boost, reposition, and turn as needed. After patient discharge, Discard the SPU and disinfect the air supply with the same cleaning solutions your facility uses for medical equipment disinfection. The reusable HoverMatt transfer mattress should be disinfected or machine laundered between patient uses. Refer to the HoverMatt User's Manual for detailed instructions before laundering the HoverMatt. Please see additional video chapters for information on using the HoverMatt for other patient handling tasks and techniques required in specific hospital departments.